So, yesterday, Mr. Joe Blackburn, the current game director for Destiny 2, dropped a massive blog post titled Lightfall in the Year Ahead. Essentially, it was a pseudo-roadmap of Bungie's plans and what to generally expect over the next year, as well as some of their thought processes. This isn't the first time we've gotten information on this scale, but it has been quite a while. So today, I wanted to summarize a lot of this information, as well as give my thoughts on it, so let's dive right in. To start things off, Bungie gives a brief little examination of the state of Destiny's content and the game as a whole. Currently, they are quite satisfied with the consistency and quality of content delivered throughout the entire year of Witch Queen. Quote, "We've gotten to a place where Guardians can expect consistency in the quality of content coming to Destiny 2 all year long. From the Witch Queen to Season of the Seraph, we are incredibly proud of all the high-quality shooter content and storytelling that has been added to the game over the last 12 months. Despite this pride, they also concede the game can sometimes feel incredibly predictable at times, consistency still being important for the health of the game and developers. However, it has become a bit too much at times and removed a lot of the surprise or magic from the game. If I may quickly inject some of my own thoughts here, I agree for the most part. The only real complaints I had from content throughout the Witch Queen was moments where the grind became too much without becoming interesting. Season of Plunder was the perfect example of this in my opinion. It wasn't objectively bad or anything, but it was incredibly boring. Include the grind for deep sight weapons and seasonal events, and it just completely burnt me out. Going back to Bungie, they want to combat these issues with 4 key goals in mind leading up to the next expansion, the Final Shape. These challenges are expanding players' imaginations, bringing challenge back to Destiny, enriching the content, and connecting Guardians. Joe goes on to say that none of these goals will be reached with any singular change, but they plan to address each of these throughout 2023. Starting with expanding the imagination of players, Bungie introduces us to the name of our next season, Season of Defiance. We've somewhat known this already, but Joe states that Season of Defiance's content was mostly finished before their new design goals were put in place, but they still have plenty of changes to introduce that will shake up and improve the seasonal model. Starting with simplifying the complexity within the progression system of each season, meaning fewer competing currencies to earn. As an example, Bungie gives some more details on a change they've previously mentioned. Umbral Ingrams and Umbral Energy will be going away. Instead, you'll earn seasonal Ingrams that will be completely contained and stored within their respective vendors, meaning no more Umbral Ingrams clogging your inventory. Additionally, a type of special key will be replacing seasonal currencies. These keys will not be guaranteed drops, but the rewards that are unlocked with them have supposedly been made better to account for this. Honestly, it reminds me sort of the skeleton key system used for strike-specific loot in Destiny 1. These keys will also drop inside the seasonal playlist, so you shouldn't have to play any other content to get rewards in the seasonal activity, which I'm honestly stoked about because I was sick and tired of having to pause my grind sessions to go play Crucible or something before I could return. Bungie also decided to give us the name for the season coming after Lightfall, although in retrospect I guess it isn't that far away. Season of the Deep. This is when I would expect a lot of the more major changes to the seasonal model to come into play. They go on to say that Season of the Deep will not feature a vendor upgrade system like the ones we've had since Season 11, which was way back in June 2020. That doesn't mean you'll never see an upgrade screen again, but they wanted to create a varied amount of ways for players to invest into seasonal content. Continuing with their plans for future seasons, Joe talks about creating fresh activity experiences, similar to how the Shattered Realm from Season of the Lost and the original introduction of Battlegrounds in Chosen was fresh and new. Essentially making seasons far more unique from one another. They did this with the themes of Witch Queen seasons, from Reapers to Pirates to Cowboys. They feel they've proven Destiny can be home to content with countless different inspirations, and they want to continue with that. To summarize, Bungie agrees that seasons have become too samey and stale, and they want to make them not that way anymore. If they can execute these ideas, I am all for it. Have a field day with it. Wrapping up the first goal of expanding the imagination of players in Destiny's content, Bungie also includes a look at a lot of changes coming to weapon crafting. This part reads less like vague plans and more like something with a concrete vision, so I'm just going to read off the bullet points. To create independent chases for both crafted and non-crafted weapons starting with Lightfall, few of our total weapons will be craftable, and more of our weapons with long-term sources will get value from random perk rolls. To allow these non-crafted weapons to stand toe-to-toe with crafted weapons in Lightfall, in the year of Lightfall, more and more of our non-crafted weapons, starting with the new raid adepts this year, will have the ability to be enhanced. Enhancing allows your dropped weapon to start leveling up, use mementos, and gain access to both enhanced perks and enhanced intrinsic properties. but only the enhanced versions of the perks and masterwork that are already on the version of the weapon you are enhancing. Simply said, with some time and resources, enhancing allows you to take the random rolled weapon you've obtained and enhance its existing roll to match the full power of a crafted weapon. We are targeting to roll out this initially with Lightfall Raid Adepts at the launch of Season of the Deep. Long term, we want to expand this functionality to most of our new non-crafted weapon drops, but there are some technical hurdles we need to solve first. For crafted weapons, we will have some additional changes planned. You will never see a deep sight on a weapon unless it's something you need to make pattern progress for. When you see a red border in-game, you will know it's valuable. Targeting Season of the Deep, we will also be adding a mechanism to activate deep sight on any craftable weapon they do not have the pattern for. Now, let's talk about bringing challenge back to Destiny. Bungie says that all the variety in the world wouldn't mean crap if the content was boring and not engaging, and I have to agree. After bringing the light subclasses up to the 3.0 system over the last year, they feel that the RPG aspects of the game feel a lot better, but the content has gotten way too easy because of it, especially in the lower levels of core content. Fixing this starts with a two-pronged approach to adjusting difficulty, starting with abilities. Bungie already showed a preview of ability tuning in Lightfall, so I'm not going to cover that in detail here, but I will link it in the description. In short, Bungie wants abilities to still be potent, but with lower uptime. They want you to use both your guns and space magic together. They don't think any of the changes coming will be too drastic, but they needed to rein in some of the things that got out of hand last year. The second part of this change has to do with enemies in Destiny. Bungie's been pretty happy with the difficulty settings of the Heist Battlegrounds playlist, constantly keeping you slightly underleveled, so the enemies have a bit more bite to them. So they will be adding this setting to the Vanguard Ops playlist and when patrolling around Neomuna. Bungie talks about their recent experiments with power settings over the last year, and that they plan to do even more this year, saying that they want to address the power system because currently it keeps players from seeing all the cool content, and that we should expect a big change to the system coming in the final shape. Okay, moving to the third goal of enriching the content in Destiny. There's a lot here, so I'm just going to go over the important bits. PvP is here to stay, and Bungie wants to continue making improvements to it, but they think just adding maps isn't going to cut it all together. In Season of the Deep, we'll be getting a returning map, followed by a new Vex Network map in Season 22, and another returning map in Season 23. New and returning modes, such as Countdown, will also be implemented, as well as some unique Crucible labs that drastically alter the sandbox. Matchmaking and even updating spawn points on maps is something they also want to continue improving, as well as looking at updates to the Trials of Osiris and competitive playlists. Exotic missions. Everyone loves them, and now even the old ones are coming back with their own Rotator playlist in Season 22. At launch, this Rotator will contain Presage, Vox Obscura, and Operation Seraph Shield, but they hope to bring back some of Destiny 2's most classic missions back. Really hoping for the Whisper and 0 Hour missions to come back for Final Shape myself, or at least before Final Shape, but we'll see. Strikes and the Vanguard pieces of content are also getting a big pass. Starting with some reworks to the Link of Shadows and Arms Dealer strikes, they've been adjusted to be on similar levels to the Lightblade and Proving Ground strikes. Other strikes, like Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire, will also have their appearance in Vanguard playlists reduced. In a surprise to no one, the Season 16 and 19 Battlegrounds will be added to the Vanguard Ops playlist. What is somewhat surprising, however, is that certain Battlegrounds will also be transformed into Nightfalls. Beginning with the Mars Heist Battleground and the Nightfall rotation of Season of Defiance, this is something I'm very excited for and hope works out. And last but not least, Gambit. Oh, there's nothing here about Gambit. Out of 5,300 words, Gambit wasn't one of them. Well, moving on, I guess. Joe goes on to talk about how as Lightfall ends its seasonal schedule, they want to make some specific changes to ritual content. Examples include moving exotic armor away from lost sectors and back into core playlists, no longer being asked to earn every ritual pursuit ornament for seasonal challenges, and allowing players more new rewards for playing whatever content they want. During the last season of the year, Bungie plans on dedicating a large portion of development toward a, and I quote, core ritual-focused season. They reassure us that the season will have plenty of new story and activities, but want to clean up some things right before the final shape. This information is slightly vague, but I am intrigued nonetheless. Hopefully Gambit actually gets something other than a few guns for once. And last on the list of goals, connecting players. Bungie is introducing the Guardian rank system in Lightfall, alongside what they call commendations. Essentially, these commendations are a sort of post-activity reward you can give to players, commending them on certain efforts. Bungie hopes that this will serve as an icebreaker to meeting and communicating with other people, to show what kind of player you are and what you've experienced. Some commendations will even be activity-specific. There's not a lot of detailed information given, so I'm just going to leave it at that. To further these hopes, however, Bungie is also going to be making text chat opt-out rather than opt-in. Currently, text chat is off or at least hidden by default, meaning you'll never really see much of anything unless you opt in yourself. They also want better filtering and moderation, and even features like speech-to-text to bring more people together and personalize your experience. And the last major point for connecting people, as well as the last major point in this blog post, Fireteam Finder, or LFG. We got some more news, and it won't be here until Season 22, alongside the next reprised raid. I didn't expect it to come with Lightfall at launch, but it's still a bit disappointing. Bungie says that they want to get it right, with features such as being able to queue anywhere in the game, tagging your posts with keywords, as well as letting people join automatically or be individually approved or denied. They sound like some great features, so if they're going to add all of that and they can get it right, I definitely won't mind waiting. And that about wraps up the article. Now, thoughts. Well, there's a ton of information here that I'm very happy with. As a matter of fact, I'm happy with all of it. But it definitely wasn't exactly what I was expecting. There's a lot of ideas listed, but nothing concrete or any specifics to delve into. So I wouldn't exactly call it hype-inducing, because there's nothing to be overly hyped about yet. So in a few words, I'm definitely excited, but not blown away. But this was literally titled Lightfall and the year ahead, so I guess I can't say I was expecting anything that would be launching in 2 weeks. But that's it for now. We have the seasonal finale, or whatever it's going to be today, so I'm definitely looking forward to that, as well as to Lightfall itself. I don't have much more to say until I get everything in my hands to mess with, but with that being said, my name is Yami, and I will see you beautiful people next time.